ISIS is making a tremendous amount of money because they have certain oil camps, right? They have certain areas of oil that they took away. They have some in Syria, some in Iraq. I would bomb the out of them. I would just bomb those suckers. And that's right. I'd blow up the pipes. I'd blow up the I'd blow up every single inch. There would be nothing left. And you know what? You'll get Exxon to come in there in 2 months. You ever see these guys, how good they are, the great oil companies? They'll rebuild that sucker brand new. It'll be beautiful. And I'd ring it, and I'd take the oil. And I said, I'll take the oil.
When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door.
So as tension increased in the Caribbean Sea between the US government and the Venezuelan government, I believe that there are more questions than answers. And is this really a war on drugs? And what about the Caribbean? What will be the repercussions for the Caribbean if America and Venezuela go at a full-blown war? Let's talk about it. So as I said, there are a lot of unanswered questions with this increase of tension between America and Venezuela. And everyone knows this, that a war between America and Venezuela will not be good for the Caribbean. In particular, Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana, who is right there, very close to Venezuela, they will experience a fallout if America was supposed to go on and get into a full-blown conflict with Venezuela. We have not seen a conflict like this in the Caribbean in our lifetime. The closest we saw when the American government, when they went in the 80s to pretty much overthrow the government of Panama. We saw something similar in Grenada with the Maurice Bishop government when the Americans went in to take out that government. And we see Cuba and Haiti. But in terms of a full-blown war, we have not seen it in our lifetime. So with Venezuela putting 4.5 million people on the front line, they are serious about this conflict, that they're not just going to sit down and take what the Americans say. So what will be the fallout for the Caribbean, especially, as I said, Trinidad and Tobago has been grappling with a crime problem for the past, I would say, 10 to 15 years. And it, especially since Venezuela, since Hugo Chavez died, and we have seen the government in Venezuela, things have changed in Venezuela for over the past 10 years, I would say. Because I think the last time, I can't remember exactly, but when I went to Cuba, I think it was 10, 11 years ago, that was when Chavez was in Cuba being treated for cancer, and he died shortly after that. And ever since that time, Venezuela have not been the same. And so for a full-blown conflict between America and Venezuela is not good for the Caribbean.
3 U.S. destroyers carrying 4,000 Marines are heading in the direction of Venezuela. According to the White House, the mission is to target drug cartels that traffic narcotics to the United States. The move comes just days after President Trump raised the reward for helping to apprehend Venezuela's leader Nicolás Maduro to $50 million. In response, Maduro is mobilizing 4.5 million militiamen and women throughout the country.
Que el mundo lo sepa.
Let the world know, let the empires know, that today more than ever, Venezuela can defend itself. That's why we're in peace and will stay in peace.
But while some say Trump is just trying to intimidate oil-rich Venezuela's government, Maduro has grounded all drones for 30 days, an indication that he might be expecting an attack from the air rather than sea. President Trump hasn't ruled out anything, says his spokesperson.
He's prepared to use every element of American power to stop drugs from flooding into our country and to bring those responsible to justice. The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government of Venezuela. It is a narco-terror cartel. In Maduro, it is the view of this administration, is not a legitimate president. He is a fugitive head of this cartel who has been indicted in the United States for trafficking drugs into the country.
The last time the U.S. government used drug trafficking as a rationale to overthrow a regional government was in 1989 in Panama.
In some way, it can help Maduro. I mean, he can say, look, the threat is real. It's not just propaganda. Here are the Americans. Here are the ships. So let's close ranks behind the government.
Even countries that have no love for Maduro are concerned. President Trump's vow to send warships to the Caribbean and elsewhere in Latin America to stop the flow of drugs to the United States is being seen as a threat to more than just Venezuela. It could apply to many, many countries in this region. And they say that today it may be Venezuela, tomorrow it could be any one of them. Many are wondering why President Trump has chosen to implement such an aggressive move in the United States' backyard, while he portrays himself as a global peacemaker.
And the question that is not being answered is this really a war on drugs? And if this is a war on drugs, would this happen to any other country? Is there a possibility that we're going to see the American government start going after Mexico, as they stated, the Trump administration stated that they are willing to go to Mexico after the drug cartel? Which country are they willing to go? They spoke about fentanyl problem in terms of Canada and in terms of China. Would they use the same approach? Are they going to try and go to Canada or to China to say, look, we are willing to go into a full-blown war and use the thing as drug, a war on drug, as the reason why they're going to go in? And it is crazy because in the age that we live in an age of information. There's a lot of ways to get information out there. And you would think that the American government, with the intelligence that they have, the FBI, the CIA, that they would have a press conference and they would show to the world that, look, this is really a war on drugs. They could do a PowerPoint presentation and saying, like, this is the amount of drug that is coming into America, and X amount is coming from this country, X amount is coming from that country. And I believe that the burden of proof should be in their hands. But the fact that you can pretty much go to a full-blown war based on information that's not proven. And we saw this with the Iraq war in terms of weapons of mass destruction. And after billions of dollars spent, a lot of people losing their life, then we heard that there was no weapons of mass destruction. We also saw the American government going under the Obama administration, and they went and they took out Muammar Gaddafi, accusing him of stuff that was not proven. So what is it about the America being the so-called police of the world, and America, the government of America, deciding that other governments in independent nations are illegitimate? For them to say the Maduro administration is illegitimate, and there's a possibility that the government in Venezuela could be like illegitimate, but why is it that the Americans have to take it upon their hand to go in and to try and solve something, a problem that is not in their country? These are just questions that we need answer to. And I believe history shows, and this is the thing that scares me the most, history shows every country that we have seen the Americans go into, to pretty much, they put it as they're going in to help the people, to liberate the people of these countries. So this move now would be to liberate the people of Venezuela. But every country that we have seen so far that the Americans have gone in and toppled governments in the name of liberating the people of those countries, we have seen historically those countries never recover. And that is a scary thing, because just imagine a Venezuela, destabilized Venezuela, along with a Haiti that is destabilized within the region, and how that could impact Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Jamaica, like you name it, another country within the region that it's right in our backyard being destabilized. We already have Cuba, Haiti, and now Venezuela. So guys, sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on this one. Do you think that this is really a war on drugs, or this is just something that the Trump administration is using to go in and to topple this government? Sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.